Well, hello and welcome to episode 4 of our front yard garden in the South Carolina upstate. It is March 2nd now of 2024, and we're going to take a quick look at our garden. It is a absolutely beautiful day now. It was cloudy this morning. Yesterday it poured down rain and it was about 38 degrees all day. Right now it's upper 60s, might even be close to 70, and sun. So that's the way we like to see March come in, pretty much anywhere. So we'll show you where we're at. A lot of things have moved forward this week. We'll start off in our mailbox bed as always. We've got our pansies, which have been doing really well since the weather has warmed up a little bit. One little hyacinth in here, which you can just see, which is blooming. As we've talked about in previous episodes, we've had a number of pansies that have been eaten by rabbits over the winter, but they're making a comeback, and some of them have flowers. I'm seeing buds on a number of these. We've sprayed them with rabbit spray and deer spray to keep the pests away, and it seems to be working. So hopefully we'll see more more flowers coming up soon. We've also got tulips coming up. they're in the process of breaking ground in the last couple of weeks. Daffodils, of course, in bloom, and then over here we have our clematis. I'll show you a better view of those from this side. And we're getting a lot of leaves, and not quite flower buds yet, but a lot of leaves, and they'll probably be in bloom within the next month. Big purple flowers. It's a Giacomini clematis, very impressive, bright purple. Also have one rose. I was going to show this off. It's a pale lavender rose when it gets going. It's never been terribly healthy or successful, but it does put out a handful of blooms, and it keeps coming back year after year. So we've kept it going, and we'll see what it does this year. Up here, our little corner bed, kind of the same thing. We have a lot of pansies. These are purple, bright purple. Got tulips coming up amongst all of those. We have pansy here, which was eaten down to the ground level by the rabbits, but it has come back since we've been spraying. And then over here we have our dwarf knockout rose. Usually puts out lots and lots of red flowers when the time comes, probably another few weeks, and that will be in bloom. And as we move over here, we have a lot of things going on. Lots of tulips coming up. We put in a really high concentration in this particular area, and it looks like most of them are coming up. I do know rabbits or squirrels or something had dug out a few bulbs, but most of the plants seem to be coming up. And probably another month before they're in bloom. We also have some dianthus. They're doing really well. Got a handful of flowers with these. They bloomed well into December, and really they only take about 2 months off, and then they're back in business. It's not a terribly overwhelming plant, but it does look nice, and just having any color this early is certainly welcome, especially that shade of red. I was looking to see if we had any others in bloom. We have a lot of buds, so by next week we'll probably have quite a few. Lots of pansies, different colors, yellow, there's orange here, purple. The purple ones really are impressive. It really kind of defines this area in the front of the house. And over here, our single most successful climbing rose in the front yard. Bright red flowers when the time comes. It's got lots and lots of leaves growing on it, so we'll have flowers probably by the end of March. And then over here, some hyacinths, 3 different colors. We've got white and pink, and then purple, not quite out yet, but looking great. These daffodils are already done. These started blooming in late January. It's the interesting thing about our daffodils, we have a number of different types of them, and the earliest ones start blooming typically about mid-January, and then the last ones are still going, finishing up in April. So you really get about 2.5 months worth of daffodils, which is fantastic. Now down here amongst the pansies, if you look more closely, got a few little crocuses. We didn't put in a lot of crocuses last year, and one of the problems with those is that the squirrels do tend to eat the bulbs. You can see right there a hole where these are crocus flowers, and there was one next to it that was dug out. So we don't typically get a lot of flowers from those, but if we get anything, I'm happy, because they're so pretty and very delicate. Now over here we've got little dwarf irises, Dutch irises. They are, actually this particular one is a little bit different than the ones we had last week, which were more of a bluish color. This is a really impressive purple. There's just a couple of those out. The others are done. They finished up pretty quickly, as they typically do. It's a very early spring flower. Over here on our front porch, we have our orange tree doing pretty well, and it's starting to get some buds for new leaves. You can just barely see here, and over here, hard to see there. So we'll start to see some growth on this in the next few weeks. Got a Meyer lemon here. We bought this last summer. Got a fungal infection in the roots, but now it lost all its leaves. They're starting to come back. So we should have leaves on this pathetic little thing before too long, and maybe with any luck some lemons too. It did put out some flowers last year, even though it's pretty small. This is our lemon. It's a regular lemon. It's now about 7 feet tall. It put out some flowers last year, but it didn't have anything to pollinate or cross-pollinate with. So we're hoping between that and the Meyer lemon we'll actually get some little baby lemons this year. We'll see. Over in here, just kind of a mixed bag in this part of the garden. Got some tulips coming up. Just a number of little ground flowers here and there, and a lot of things that aren't going to bloom quite yet. Hydrangeas over here, and then our viburnum, which are, I always have trouble getting these to focus for some reason. Let's try it this way. No, it still doesn't want to. These are flower buds that will give us, there's a nice view, big white puffball, snowball looking flowers, and we're going to have quite a few of them on these two viburnum. We have a few more in the further out by the street, and then one in the back. Here we have some more hyacinths. Again, the three main colors, purple, pink, and white. Along with lilies, I think these really spell Easter, or signify Easter more than anything, although Easter is still about 4 weeks away, 4 weeks from tomorrow to be exact. More tulips that we put in last fall. A few daffodils way over there that have been going for a few weeks now. They started back in January. One snapdragon here. We didn't cut back the dead stuff from last year, but it looks like it's going to come back. That one was pretty successful last year, as were these. Now this will be their 3rd year. They don't typically do terribly well from year to year, but if we can get any growth on them, we're going to be pretty happy. Now over here, we do have a couple crocuses. These must have bloomed during the week, and I missed them because they're already wilted for the most part. They come and go very quickly, for better or for worse. So you have to really enjoy them while they're out. At one time when we first moved in here, about 6 years ago, we had crocuses all over this little hillside here, but you don't see them as well, so we decided it wasn't worth putting a whole bunch of them in. We've got them in more in areas that you can see pretty readily. Over in here on this big triangle bed, we have a lot of irises, that are going to be coming up. We also have hostas and daylilies, so there's going to be a lot going on here. Again, some viburnum. These are going to have a lot of flowers on them pretty soon. Not a whole lot to look at right now, but they will. We also have some azaleas and hydrangeas. So there's a lot going on over here. We have one big butterfly bush starting to put some early leaves out, although the flowers won't hit for a couple months yet. We actually got a yucca back in here that was put in by previous owners, and no matter how many times I dig this thing out, it keeps coming back. It's very invasive and very persistent, so I'm going to have to get after that before too long, or it'll start to take over as it has in the past. In the front here we have 5 knockout roses. These were Walmart specials. They have grown nicely. They're getting leaves on them, and probably by early April they'll be covered with red flowers. It's always a sight to see. A lot of those in this neighborhood, so they're always a lot of fun to watch develop. Over here in our last bed in the center of the yard, more of the same. We have a lot of yellow pansies here, some various ground cover, irises coming up, and then beautiful daffodils, sort of a compound daffodil flower, very pretty, very pale, delicate yellow color. More pansies, some more dwarf irises. I didn't realize even that we had these here. Kind of hidden amongst the grass, but the other knockout roses starting to bloom now. This one you can kind of see if you look closely. This one was chewed on when we had a deer problem back in January. It got really cold, and a lot of this bush was chopped back. But these things grow so readily that it's really not a problem. It'll come back with no trouble. We got our hyacinths here. One of the sweetest smells, very strong smell. Not always ideal to cut and bring in. They look pretty, but the smell sometimes is a little too potent. But they're out in the garden. They're absolutely wonderful. But, daylilies coming up. These are going to be really pretty. Most of them are orange with a few variations, kind of a complex type of flower with ruffles on it when the time comes. That'll be about May or June. And then we have Asiatic lilies in this area when they come up, dianthus, and big climbing rose that typically has some peach colored flowers on it. And that's about it for our front yard. So things are coming along. Every week we see a little bit more development, a little more progress. And so we'll keep doing this every week. We'll have to take a little bit of a break when we have spring break. We'll be out of town coming up in a couple of weeks, but we'll keep it up until then. So until next week, happy gardening, and we're gonna do our backyard garden next.